Let's do some animation today. Animation in Unity. Scott asked me to set up a little script that students can use to test their animation exports. And I'm working on that tonight. And as I do, I'm sort of discovering some how-tos, and I'll document those as we go. So this will be how to set up some basic animation in Unity, and then how I'm going to run with that and make some scripts that I'll develop maybe over the future to make it even easier to use. So let's get into it. All right, we just saw major power here. That's an example. Let's start from scratch. Let's make a new character. Let's make a folder for the new character. Test char, I'm going to say. Test char. Now, presumably, let's do this. Our animator, our rigger, our modeler, our artists, possibly yourself, have created this in something, and they've exported for you FBX files. So let's start from scratch on those. Whoops, I don't need that. Let's go to, yeah, I want to do, where am I putting these? Okay, here we are. Here's this test char right there, and I'm going to use that example character I was just given as a sample. Okay, bring them in. Okay, so our animator gave us these FBX files, raw. Right? Our animator just gave us some raw FBX files. We dumped them straight into Unity. That's what I just did there. I just dumped them into a folder here in Unity. This is what they look like. And we can see them. These are the files that the animator gave us. Okay, let's import these straight into Unity. So first step, if you just drop it in the scene, boop, there you go. And we'll see that it's very dinky. It was made at a different scale, probably in, like centimeters instead of meters or something. So we might want to scale them. So under the model, there's a scale factor right here on the model import when you select on the thing. And so I'm going to set them all to a scale of 10 and apply. It re-imported them, you saw that, and now we've got a reasonable size scale on this guy. Okay, what shall we do next? Let's set up some animation. Okay, we need one of the various files needs to be our reference for everything else. These files will all be animations, except one of them will carry with it the model and the rig. The model and the rig is on all of them, presumably, so the one that we want one of them to represent the model and the rig for our game. And I chose walk here. I chose walk, so that one needs to be the model and the rig, and of course it also has an animation. So because this is the rig now, this is what I'm going to be using as the base for my character. I will say create, I want an avatar for this guy. So I'm going to create the avatar from that animation. Great, great, great. Okay, next up, the animations. You notice by default, they just came in as take 001, and they're all take 01. So I won't be able to differentiate those. Let's give them decent names. That one's walk. That one's run. This one's idle. And this one will be flip. And by the way, the apply button is just down here. But if you tab off of it or whatever, you select something else, it'll prompt you. So that's pretty convenient. Okay, is the animation set up to loop? Oh no, the animations are not set up to loop. So I think the flip is not a loop. I think the run ought to be a loop, and the walk ought to be a loop. So I'm marking those. The idle should also be a loop. But I've found there's problems with this particular idle that I haven't really worked out. So that's why I'm not using it as the base. Normally I'd use the idle as the base. But the walk actually works. So that's what I've got. Take this walk that I have said is the rig, is the animation, right? I've said this is the rig, it has an animation. I'm going to drop it in the scene and see what we get. Okay, still not animating, but it does have an avatar on it, but it has no animation controller yet. So we will need to create an animation controller. I'm going to do that now. Create animation controller. Okay, here's my animation controller. Simplest thing to do is just select all your animations and drop them in there. And now they're not hooked up to anything. We see that the flip animation is the default that it's going to play, and then these others are just in here, but nothing triggers them. There are no transitions set up for these. But let's put that on this guy. Let's put it right there. Maybe save my scene. Go. Hey, and you'll see that it played the flip animation, which was that default animation. So it did play that animation the one time. If we come in here and let's make the walk cycle. Let's make the walk cycle the default. We'll make the walk cycle the default. Okay, now it's got the walk and it loops. All right, cool, cool, cool. The only thing left is how do we play those other animations? Here's what I've got set up. I've got a couple of little scripts that I've put on here. Test animation will allow you to play a walk, a run, and a jump. Yeah, a walk, run, and a jump, and you can steer the character around. And simple animation is something new that just allows you to play anything by name. And so that should be pretty simple. Let's play the run animation. So we'll just come in here and we'll type run. And you say, oh no, I don't want to see that. I want to see the flip. Let's see the flip. So there was the flip. Walk. There's the walk. Let's do that flip. Okay, so that's the very basic beginnings of my little animation script. I also hooked up the cursor keys so I can steer the character around and I can look at him from different poses. That seems like the kind of thing an animator might want. You know, say, hey, how's it look? How's the flip look from this angle? Okay. Yeah, and so where would I want to take this next? I want to take this simple animation script and make it a little fancier. I'd like to have it scan the animation controller. Scan the animation controller for all the various options and put them up as buttons that you could just click. That'd be cool. I think that'd be pretty cool. What else might I want to do? The setup. Maybe I could automate some of the setup for you a little bit where it scans the directory for all the FBX files and automatically adds them all to a controller for you. But I'm not sure if that's really necessary. Ultimately, we do want to learn how this all works. So let's do a quick recap of what the steps are. We drop the FBX files into Unity. I would say put them in a folder. One of those FBX files you want to set as the rig that is the create rig. That is the one that you'll drag in as if it's the model. On the model tab, set the scale to something sensible. Put your characters side by side in your scene. Put your characters and your props in your scene so that you can scale them appropriately. Sometimes people don't model them all to the correct scale in their original package. And then in the animation tab, give everything a decent name and set the loop time either on or off depending on if it's a looping animation or not. I mean, let's look at flip. Let's make that a loop. And then we can watch it play over and over. If we say flip. So that's it now playing over and over. And we can we still see that from different directions? Yes, we can. So there you go. So that's how that works. Let's take a quick look at how the script works. Yeah, okay. Here's the simple animation script. So I have the public variables. I have a turn speed on here because I have the cursor controls allowing the character to turn around. That is just right here. This is the code to turn to different angles that I've put in here. I'm using rotate towards, and that's that turn speed. So the animator, the client could say it's turning too quickly. I need it to be, I want it to be at like 20 degrees. I can't get to 20 degrees with these cursors. So turn the turn speed down, and then you can slowly turn him to different angles. And that's what that is. That's all that is there. And then this piece is where I tell it to play an animation by name. I'm just using the public manim name. So it just reads in whatever the user types in there, that goes straight into that, and that lets you edit that in real time. And it just says, hey, if it's not the same as the current anim, then try to play the one you asked for, and remember it so it doesn't continually restart the animation. You will notice that there are tons of invalid layer warnings that are happening. As you type the name, it's updating, and the animation doesn't exist. You know, like if you try to type the run animation and you type RU, there is no RU animation, and so that's going to complain. That's one of the things we'd want to fix up. So those are the very, very basics of animation in Unity, getting it into Unity, and what you need to do to see it play. Next time, if we continue with this, I'm going to try and make that script fancier and see if we can make it cleaner and easier to use.